Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina, back with another Scrappin' on a Dime episode. Today is our last episode using the Seen and Noted by Pebbles paper pad and the Lawn Fawn So Lovely stamp set. And I've gone through quite a bit of this paper pad. At the end of this video, I'll show you some extra things that I've done throughout the month using this pad that I haven't posted on my blog. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off by doing some stamping. I went ahead and pre-die cut an oval scallop shape using a Nestabilities. And I'm going to go ahead and use my little dress form that comes in that stamp set. And I'm going to use some VersaFine ink and just ink up my dress form. So I have the dress form, and now I'm going to take a piece of pattern paper from that same, that Seen and Noted set, and I'm going to ink this up one more time. And stamp this out. And I'll just set these aside to dry while I go ahead and start putting some other things together. I'm taking a Martha Stewart tag that I picked up at Staples. I'm just going to go ahead and take off this little string there. I don't need that. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere some pattern paper to this. And then I'll take my scissors and then just trim this out into my tag shape. And then I have another piece of the pattern paper, and this one I'm going to kind of put at an angle. And then I'll go ahead and trim this. Alright, and now I'm going to use some score tape, and I'm just going to put this straight across that edge there with the green paper. I have some trim that was from a Webster Pages set from a long time ago, so I don't know if you can still get this or not, but I really love the way this color looks with these colors, the green and the gray. So I'm just going to trim that off on the sides. And now I'll take my die cut, or my stamped piece on the pattern paper, and go ahead and fussy cut around those. I like to use my Martha Stewart scissors for fussy cutting because it's, to me, a little easier to control. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that piece down to my stamped image on my scallop. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use a sentiment this time from the Lawn Fawn stamp set. I'm going to use one from a Studio Calico. I believe this came in a Studio Calico kit, but I'm going to use this Hey Girl. And I have that mounted onto my acrylic block already, and I'm just going to use the VersaFine ink. So I'll stamp that on the angle right above my ribbon trim. And then I'll take my dress form piece, and using some foam adhesive, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. So I put two lower towards the bottom so that it'll be underneath the ribbon piece, and then one towards the top so that it'll go right above the ribbon. So put that just below my sentiment that says "Hey Girl." And then the last thing I want to do is I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile and use the punch from that and just turn it over using the hole that's already in the tag as my guide. I'm going to punch my hole there and then take another piece of the trim I'm going to feed that through. And then using some twine from American Crafts, I'm just going to tie a little bow right around my trim. And then that is our last project using the Seen and Noted by Pebbles. Now let me just show you a couple of other things that I have done. So besides doing 2 cards, a layout, and our tag that I just showed you today using the Seen and Noted and the Lawn Fawn So Lovely stamp set, I also did 2 other projects, so I wanted to share those with you today. I showed this over on my blog already. This is a sketchbook I made using a ARC book from Staples, and these books are customizable. Everything kind of pops off and you can change out the pages. All of the pages have these little edges that you can just pop in and out, and like again, you can get these at Staples, and you can purchase graph paper, lined paper. I believe there's even some to-do list and also the divider pages. So what I did was I kind of decorated the front of mine using some of the papers from that 6x6 paper pad, and did a graph paper in the background, layered that with a piece of the pattern paper that has the days of the week, and then also added a die cut of some hearts, border hearts, that's from a paper tray ink die, using some of that pattern paper. Added the paper doily, a couple of buttons, and this little memo note, just a note, Brad and label from October Afternoon, and then added sketches down the bottom. And then I just did some sewing and then adhered that down with some score tape, so I knew it would hold up pretty well. And then I created some divider pages. This is the one I'm using for my sketchbook, or sketch section, and I used more of that same pattern paper from the front, the graph paper with the border punch, and then another piece that I circle cut with my old trusty Coloozle, which you know, isn't out anymore, that you can't get it, but I still use it whenever I need to die cut circles. And then added some letters, that's for my card sketches. And in this section here, I took more of the pattern paper, cut it down, added the doily, and then some letters that say scrapbook sketches. So that's one thing I did with my Seen and Noted paper pad. Let me now just show you a layout I did in my Project Life. So for Project Life, I'm using a We Are Memory Keepers. I love this color teal album, and I've been having a grand time doing my Project Life album. I am totally up to date, but I wanted to share with you a section I did using some of the Seen and Noted papers for week 5 of Project Life, which is the last week in January, headed into early February, and I used some of the pattern paper to create my 4x6 sections up in the top here, and then also over here for an ice storm that we had. I used that tealish polka dot paper in the background. Added the graph paper back here for week 5, which I sewed my week 5 letters on. And then I also used it over in this section right here where during our ice storm, Ethan ended up not having school, so it was a day home from work, and we made cupcakes that day, and we just, I just used some graph paper in the back of that. And then, this is Ethan's report card that I put in as a insert for my album. And then the only piece from this October afternoon, from Seen and Noted that I used for this one was for this card right here. Scott was helping me pick out stamps, a sentiment or something. It was a sentiment for a week of Project Life that I was working on. I snapped a picture of him actually looking at my stamps, finding a sentiment. And that was really all from that page that I did. Ethan had a dentist appointment. That was his report card. We had gone out to dinner that night that he got his report card, which was a Friday night, to celebrate his straight A report card. And then we stopped also and picked up, our coffee machine happened to break that morning. Nothing like your coffee machine breaking on a Friday morning before work. So we stopped and we broke down and we purchased the Keurig K-Cup coffee maker. And then down at the bottom was, we went to Red Robin that was Ethan's choice of where we were going to go to eat. So I took some pictures and made a little collage of that. And then I have a picture of Scott and Ethan at the restaurant. And then just a journaling card here that notes about his report card. So those are just some of the things that I did using some of the Seen and Noted papers, and that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed the first edition or the first month of Scrappin' on a Dime, and I look forward to working on another one sometime in the future. Thanks for watching. See you next time.